let me create a context, which is what I'm always want to do. Part of the problem has been, if you're going to have a political process, it can't be divorced from what's happening on the ground. We needed to have an integrated approach where you integrated what you're doing politically with the security side of it and the economic side of it. We disaggregated it, we didn't integrate it. And you need to create a foundation. Why? Not just for the reasons that Howard says. You have two leaders, Prime Minister Olmert and Abu Mazen, who for the first time since Oslo actually believe in each other. We have an Israeli and a Palestinian leader who actually believe in each other and their intentions. The problem is the publics are completely disbelieving. And if the publics are completely disbelieving, it's pretty hard for them to take historic leaps on the core issues, knowing that if they take it, the publics are likely to reject it. So you have to approach it, in a sense, from the ground up, not just from the top down. We focus far too much on the top down and far too little on the ground up. Right now, there's more of an effort being made by the Palestinian Prime Minister, Salam Fayyad, to build from the ground up. Even the effort that's being made in Jenin is, again, part of an effort to build from the ground up. It's very limited. The Palestinians are dealing with law and order. They're not dealing with fighting terror. And so, in a sense, what you have to do is you've got to have all three of these elements working together, give the publics on each side a reason to begin to take a second look. Because they disbelieve, they're not going to suddenly reestablish belief overnight, but you can give them a reason to take a second look. For the Israeli public, if they actually saw the Palestinian public launching a systematic effort to fight incitement, I'm not going to ask the Palestinians to do at this point what I don't think they're capable of doing, which is really having a systematic effort to fight terror. Not because it's not important, but because I think their capabilities are limited. But there's no reason in the world why they can't take on incitement. Incitement sends a message that this is about actually living in peace with the Israelis. On the Israeli side, when it comes to movement, I don't expect that the Israelis are going to lift checkpoints. I know the administration makes a big effort on this. The fact is, the issue is not lifting checkpoints, because if you lift checkpoints, you're going to end up with bombs in Israel. The issue is facilitating the movement where you can. There are plenty of checkpoints where if you have 5 lanes, only one is open. Open all 5. You don't jeopardize the security, but Palestinians would notice that they're able to move more easily. Getting the publics to see that something is different is the basis on which to be able to do something politically. If you don't deal with the ground, the political process will ring very hollow and be very abstract. And last comment on Howard's point on a shelf agreement. The problem with a shelf agreement is it's a complete abstraction. You're going to go ahead and reach an agreement, say a one-page agreement on some broad principles, and then you're going to have to subject it to some kind of referendum. If nothing changes on the ground, if rockets are going from Gaza into Israel, and if for Palestinians they don't see any real change, there's a high probability that one page loses. Well, the worst outcome is to actually put that to a vote and lose, because then it looks like you just discredited the very idea of peace. So we shouldn't give up the pursuit of peace, because then the only path you leave open is the Hamas path. But we have to ground that pursuit of peace and create a foundation and recognize how you integrate the political, the economic, and the security.
I want to ask each of our panelists to close by making a prediction. And it is a turbulent time we are dealing with as far as security is concerned globally and politically here at home. But what do you predict we will be talking about next year at this policy conference as it relates to the U.S.-Israel relationship?
Be darned if I know, but but we may be talking about an Israel that has different leadership. We may be talking about an Egypt that has new leadership. We will be talking about a United States with new leadership. And I know you are worried, and I am hopeful, because you have to be worried, and I have to be hopeful, that you will find a new administration that shares the strong feelings, and I'd say love, for Israel and the U.S.-Israeli relationship as this one does, but is more effective in pursuing policies that deal with the threats both that exist to both this government and to the state of Israel.
A year from now, Iran will be very, very close to the completion of its first nuclear bomb. I may predict that there will be no government in Jerusalem which would allow it to happen. The question that will be on the agenda next May is, if nothing has been done till now in sanctions, in encouragement of the Iranian people, as you indicated in your first questions, we will have to decide what to do. Our assumption is that we may face the problem alone. This is our historical record. We always were in the first line against evil. In the 30s, in the 67 war, in the attrition war, in Yom Kippur War, we actually fought not only against the armies of Syria and Egypt, but we faced the Soviet military technology. Now, we are in the first line against the Islamist fascism, against Iran. If we are alone, we will have to act alone. This will be the subject of May 09.